did a video a couple of weeks ago about an ASMR artist whose name was ASMR Gavino, and it was all about how, he just wiped his channel off the face of the earth, or tried to, and people don't understand. Something goes on the internet, it's there forever in some form or facet, but never intended this to be a series or to have a follow-up, but here we are. And the reason is because I found someone else that did the same thing, and kind of shades of somebody else as well that did it not long ago. So I figured, let's just have a video talking about this. And I think it's interesting enough, and I think that it's something that doesn't get talked about enough. So who am I talking about? I'm talking about a YouTuber. It's not an ASMR YouTuber. His name is Askjapan, and if you're familiar with his content, it's because he'd have these video titles that say 50 years old Japanese man, and I'm worried about my future, or something like that. It was a channel. This is how stupid and crazy the YouTube algorithm is. This guy had been making videos, vlogs, for years and years and years and years, like daily vlogs. He made one, this, I'm 50 years old Japanese man, I'm worried about, just being honest. I don't think he ever thought in a million years he'd get, the millions of views. And it did. People loved a lot of things about this guy, and I don't know if you all are familiar with sort of a something called unintentional ASMR, which is basically where someone's just doing their thing, but naturally they're inclined to have more of a softer speaking voice, or something that gives you ASMR without, the tingles and the tappings and all of that stuff. And he did it for me, man. It was never like tingles. It was very relaxing listening to him talk and just do his regular life. So I think a lot of people here are probably familiar with him for that reason as well. But people loved it. They thought it was refreshing. Now, he is in Japan, Japanese citizen. In Japan, I don't know everything about the culture, obviously, but I know that corporate Japan is awful on its employees. People go into work maybe a minute late, and they're counted absent all day. Things that, if you tried to do it in America at least, you would have 16 different federal regulatory agencies up your rear before lunchtime. So there's a lot of high stress stuff in that environment, and he was just honest. He was honest, and it was almost like a diary. And he had no friends, at least that's what he said. No friends. He didn't have a family, but he never said he did. I won't put words in his mouth. I don't like my family. It's not what he ever said, but he found a lot of stress and anxiety coming from his role in that family. Children that didn't respect him, so on and so forth. This unrewarding life that he has. And I hadn't seen any videos from him in a while, but again, YouTube algorithm, sometimes it'll just stop referring you content, right? I went on there specifically to check on it, and he wiped his channel. His channel's still there, but every single video that was that style is gone. There's a lot of theories as to why this is. Some people said, oh, well, his wife found out because he was not overly friendly to that family environment. Some said, oh, his work must have found out because he always said how he hated his job and whatnot. No one really knows, right? He did not delete his channel. You can still go and see it. But all all those videos are either gone or unlisted. So, he inspired all of these people, though, and that's the point. He was the embodiment of everyone's dissatisfaction with their lives. People who would leave stuff in the comments. I'm 60 years old, Norwegian man, American man, wherever, French man. All across the world would come together, kind of form this collective bond, if you will. Not only that, but he also inspired a ton of these type of videos. I remember seeing chaps from England and Korea and America and, just I'm 40 years old and I'm a failure kind of stuff. And they all want to know what happened to him. But I think this brings up a really good point. Why did ASMR Gavino delete his channel? Why did this guy delete his videos? Why did, as I said in the last one, Prince, young Prince, or one Prince, whatever he called himself at the end, I think his name was Darnez, I believe he said that in a video, so I'm not like Arnez, I think it's something like that, but anyways, why did they do that? Why do you just go on top, and then nothing? Well, there's a couple different things, and to preface this, not like this means that everything I'm saying is correct, but hopefully give you all a little bit more of an idea of whether you want to listen to me or not. I'm completing and finalizing my PhD in psychology. I've studied the human mind for 7 years now, and depression, anxiety, and self-destructive propensities. I can tell you my alternative dissertation and research area was on social media. A lot of people that go to social media to become content creators considered loosely by this definition to be kind of social pariahs, outcasts, people who don't have a whole lot of friends, people who might have emotional and mental challenges. Not all of them, but definitely a lot of them. And they go to these platforms. I'm talking about content creators now. I'm not talking about people who go on to watch, because everybody goes on to watch YouTube and whatnot, and use these platforms as ways to get friends. They believe that if they find acceptance in the cyberspace world, then they will have what they could not have in person. They've done a couple of studies on this now, and they have found that it's the opposite. Being in person and having that in-person support system, all it takes is one or two people to see mental health benefits. But people who go online and find these support systems online from all these strangers that they meet, it does nothing. It does nothing to boost their mental health. Why is that? Who knows? There's a lot of different facts and circumstances, but if you have somebody who is dealing with social isolation, they go online, thereby isolating themselves even further from society. And when they're not receiving the mental health benefits of having a community, they tell themselves, well, it's just around the corner. I just have to get even more involved in my online community because I'm not getting enough of it. And it's this perpetual cycle that leads you into isolation. Isolation leads you into anxiety, to depression. For Askjapan, his entire YouTube channel was Depression Hub. It read as a man who was clinically depressed, and this was his outlet to express himself. And I know he got a lot of slack. I read a comment the other day that sickened me, not on my channel, it was on another channel. absolutely sickened me because it was actually honestly too honest, too truthful. Someone was saying something about somebody, I don't remember the context, and the person who at the top rated comment said the OP, the poster, the original poster, seems like they just now found out that people hate to see other people winning or succeeding. And that's so true, man. People who do well, you have a whole lot of trolls out there who hate to see people doing well. So Askjapan got a whole lot of hate about that. He's just chumming it up. He's just making it. Now he's just coming out with these videos to get money, and maybe he was. I can tell you that could not have been the reason why he started doing it, because he didn't have any subscribers when he started doing it. So at least one of those videos was honest, and that's enough for me to look at it this particular way. But going back to, Prince ASMR, I don't think people, and I don't even know if the human psyche, as far as this goes, is meant to be able to be put in that environment, to go from nothing to a million people know your name. It's a weird thing. I do not consider myself a popular, even ASMR artist. My channel is a lovely size, I think. I'd be totally happy if it never grew. I would also be totally happy if it kept growing. I've always said if one person watches, that's enough for me. But I've been recognized just a handful of times. And it's a very strange feeling. It's very strange. It's just something you're not used to. It's something that is just, it's very odd. It's a very odd feeling when someone says, hey, I know you. You're just like, when someone says, hey, I know you, you're like, oh shoot, did I, cut them off in traffic, whatever. And for somebody who's suffering with depression, who retreated to YouTube as a way to have an open source diary, looking for acceptance, looking for love, looking to build up a level of confidence, it's something else entirely. Then there's another thing where people are empowered by anonymity online, and you will find the meanest people on the internet because they don't have to be held accountable for the things that they say. And so you have this entire other area. So you have someone who has a mental illness like depression, anxiety, and honestly, you have the large majority of the world having at least part of this, maybe not clinical or diagnosable, but stress, anxiety, and depression. It's very prevalent. And you have someone that goes onto the internet, and instead of experiencing this feeling of belonging, they now have none of that benefit, as the research articles would say, but they put themselves in this hole of trying to build, okay, all I need is more subscribers and I'll be happy. All I need are more likes and I'll be happy. All I need is more this, more that. And that's not the way the brain works. But then on top of that, now you have these trolls, these people that hate you just because you're succeeding in doing something. And then you have these heightened needs that are not being met, but then also putting it on yourself to put out content over and over and over again. So instead of having love and acceptance like you thought it would be, now you're more depressed, you're more socially isolated, and you're more anxious than ever. That's why a lot of these YouTubers stop going to their comments, just disappear. So, I don't know what the deal is with Askjapan. I would say it's probably something very similar like that with Gavino and Prince. But that's the deal, man. That's the deal. And the thing thing that's sad about it is that for content creators, so much of the time, they put on this face. It's almost like there's a huge fad in Japan. So the VTuber, right? I'm putting on this face of somebody else. You're not going to know my name. I'll use a fake name. And then I'll use a fake character because I want to escape from my life and be somebody else. Over and over again. Over and over again to the same exact result. People pretending that they have lives that they don't. People pretending to do things and be things that they're not. People investing all this money into trying to build content platforms that they don't have. And you see this at the very tip top as well. And I think people love seeing honesty. And that's why Askjapan got as many likes and as views as he did. And it's not just him. Markiplier, who has one of the largest YouTube channels, Mark Fishbach. Funny dude. One of his most watched videos that is actually of him not playing a game or doing something like a skit. Just a real live video of him. It's a video called I'm Tired. It's like 27, 28 million views. And he's just talking about these expectations for him to put out content for this and that. He doesn't want money, he just wants to go away, right? It's not like PewDiePie went to Japan, doesn't want anything to do with anybody, right? So, but people love it. People love to see that these content creators that seem to live a totally different life in a different world and be perfect and everything, that they aren't dealing with the same problems as they are. It creates that wall. And when people see that, when people see other people and connect to it on a human level, they really like that. But instead of these content creators like posting saying, this is the real me, I'm out here, this is the problem that I have, they just allow this stress and anxiety and expectations of themselves and then just disappear altogether. So this suffices it to say that content creation, at least at this scale, on the smaller scale, and even larger scale, it comes with a lot of challenges that people just do not expect. A lot of weird things. People think, oh, I'm gonna get famous, get the car, get the girls, or the guys, whatever flavor suits you. And that's just not the way it goes. And they're ill prepared to do that. Ill prepared for it. So I had a bit of a burnout. And I was gone for like 3 weeks. I came back. And now I'm great. I honestly look forward to putting out content right now. Making content. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. I love interacting with people. But that's probably not going to be that way forever. You just have to be mindful of all of these things. Because just like someone that I talked to, one of the viewers in that Gavino video, someone said, it frustrates me that someone would just leave. And I think they felt bad saying it. And I can understand why. But at the same time, I totally understand their point and agree with it. As a content creator, you are voluntarily putting yourself in the light and getting people sort of hooked on you as a personality, as a producer. And I understand that mental illness happens, breaks happen, mental breaks that is, but you sort of have a responsibility at that point to at least keep your stuff there for people to go back and watch it later on. Just my opinion. And I feel like I can have one at this point and at this stage of creating. But I just wanted to make this video, because I just feel like it's something that nobody talks about. The expectations and getting into content creating and the addictive propensities and the expectations that people have. I think where people were picking up on that with the Askjapan, like, oh, he's milking it at this point. I think he was, but I don't think it was for the same reasons why they thought. I think they thought that he was doing it for money. I think the real reason why he was milking it every single day was because he thought it was expected of him now. Now that he had this huge fan base, he had to please them every day. And that is a lot to put on your shoulders. A lot. So, I just wanted to make a video like this, and hopefully I don't have to make any more. Hopefully there's not the 100, 200, 300,000 subscriber channels that go down because of expectations and mental illness, and especially with ASMR, because ASMR is designed to help mental illness. A lot of people watch it, and a lot of people who watch it, maybe they become content creators as well. So it's just such a prevalent area in this particular sphere. So anyways, this is sort of my opinion that I feel through my doctorate and studying this particular area in self-destructive mechanisms. I feel like I'm qualified to speak on. But regardless if you understand it or if you don't, or even if you knew the reason why, it does not change the fact it's still very sad when you see something like this. You see someone you connect to, they're having what you find out later a very difficult time, and all of a sudden they just leave. It's very, very challenging to understand that and comprehend it, even if you know the reasons why. So anyways, I look forward to seeing you all on the next video, and until then,